Hello, if you're new here, my name is Santana and I make talk-based videos where I delve into scientific, like social science, scientific topics, or just things that have generally been interesting me. And this week I wanted to talk about the little green monster, jealousy. So something I've been seeing that's been going around a lot on the internet is the idea that jealousy can lead us to where we want to be or can lead us to where we're insecure or where we can kind of find the answers to jealousy. So using jealousy as a tool more so than a crutch. Um, I think that jealousy is really normal, especially because we live in such a comparison-based society, whether that's in academic settings, in social settings, in familial settings. We are constantly taught to compare ourselves against the best and the worst people in society. Uh, we are not often taught to compare ourselves against the average. So I think it's really important to understand that there's no perfect solution to jealousy. There are definitely ways to work on it and ways to reframe it in your mind. But something that I noticed when I was doing a bit of background research for this video was people were making videos that were like how to go from being jealous to being the person that people are jealous of. And it's like, I don't know that that's the most productive way to think about that, or the most healthy way to, kind of think about that. Um, I don't know. So I was thinking about how jealousy can be used as a tool to help us figure out what we're missing or what we want. And I thought that was really interesting. So you think about someone that you've been jealous of based on like maybe their personal style or something nice that they have. When you think about that and you kind of break it down, well, it's like, well, yes, I'm jealous of them, but maybe also that jealousy is telling me that I want to work on my personal style or I want to start saving for a nice car. You can make jealousy work for you instead of working against you. Um, when we're jealous and we don't do anything about it, we're just taking out our own negative emotions on other people. Um, but when we sit with our jealousy and we think about it and we break it down, we can identify how we want to make that feeling dissolve. And I thought that was really interesting because I'm a person who struggles with jealousy, just like I think a lot of people do. I think as a woman in society, it's often hard to curate jealousy free spaces. Because women are constantly being compared against one another. Who's the skinniest? Who's the curviest? Who's the tallest? Who's the teensiest? Um, so it's definitely something I've been thinking about a lot because I've been doing a social media cleanse and I have a couple times gotten back on social media, and I actually did this last night where I had re-downloaded Instagram and I was back on the platform. And within about 24 hours, I had like started back into a pattern of like posting very posed curated pictures of myself. And I caught myself at probably about 1 a.m. last night and I was like, oh, I'm not posting this for me. I'm posting this for other people to see me and see me in a certain light. And I'm not necessarily sure that like that's a positive reason to be posting or just a fulfilling reason to be posting. So I quickly deleted off of the pictures and got rid of Instagram. I think that Instagram for me is one of those biggest culprits of jealousy. But a way that jealousy has been impactful in my life recently is I've been seeing a lot of people moving out of the town that I'm in right now. And I briefly talked about this before, but I live in a very transient college town. And I didn't pay much mind to it at first because I was feeling very content with where I'm at. But once I got to like digging deeper and thinking about like the progression of like my career and my social life and my general happiness, I started to kind of get jealous of some of these people. Like, like, damn, like you're planning to go to this new city and to really put yourself out there and work really hard for this career aspiration that you have. And I started to get jealous of it. And I was like, well, why am I jealous? Because I don't think that I want to move. Like, I don't think that I want to change anything. And the more that I sat and resonated with it, the more I was like, wait, maybe I do want to move. Like, why are all of these like negative emotions coming up for me? Those negative emotions and those negative thoughts have to, like, have some kind of grounding. So upon further exploration of myself and of my brain, I really started to pick up on the fact that I was becoming jealous of these people and resentful, and that's not the way that I wanted to be. And so with all of this thought kind of going around on the internet of, make jealousy work for you, like jealousy is trying to tell you something about yourself, about what you want. I started to, sit and kind of think about it. And it's like, I've been talking about getting my PhD for at least 3 years. And even before that, in like my master's and my undergrad, like that was always the plan. And I think that I've begun to kind of stagnate with where I'm at. And so this year I'm working to push myself to get out of that stagnation. And so I think the reason that I was feeling kind of jealous about all these people moving was because I'm like, dang, like I know that I'm going to have to move in order to get my PhD. I know that if I want to get a good job that helps me to lead a fulfilling life because I'm financially sound, but also pursuing something that makes me happy, I might have to move to a place that's a little bit bigger. I might have to get out of my comfort zone again. So I think what I was really jealous of was these people's bravery. Like, it's hard to move to a new city, to a place that you don't know, surrounded by people. But one of the potential outcomes and benefits of that is the pursuit of your own happiness and your own success. And I've moved a number of times over the past couple of years, and all of them have usually been based on like education, like pursuing a degree. But as I'm like thinking about moving in this jealousy, I've started to craft a plan. I've started to get really down into the nitty gritty of like where I might want to move, what school I might want to go to, what neighborhood in that city could I see myself living in? Do I see myself being successful in that area? And none of those thoughts would have been born if it wasn't for the jealousy, which is like really interesting because I don't think that we often think of jealousy as something that has positive outcomes. I think in, a puritanical society, jealousy is seen as like a root of evil. And I definitely think that jealousy can lead to some really negative outcomes. Like, they don't call it the little green monster for nothing. I think that jealousy can take over and cause some pretty horrible events to transpire. Whether that be something that's just generally embarrassing or something that's harmful to others. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting to think about how, jealousy can work for you when you really take the time to sit and reflect and work on yourself and accept yourself where you're at, accept that you're going to have negative emotions, that you're going to feel jealousy for other people, but instead of sitting and ruminating on that, starting to question, ask questions of your jealousy. Why am I feeling this way? What could I do to make myself feel better in this situation? You know, do I mitigate it by working on myself? Do I mitigate it by talking to that person about my jealousy? Because something else that's been coming up for me in the research of this video is the idea that, you don't really know what someone else is going through. Most of our jealousy comes from very surface level observations that we have of other people. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's much, much deeper than that. But oftentimes we don't know a person or what they're going through well enough to say that we want what they have. because you could be over here dying for something that someone else has, only to come to realize that once you get to know that person, or once you get to asking more questions, that you actually don't want what that person has, or you don't want the cost of what that person has, or that you find out funnily along the way that you're actually happier with what you have. Jealousy can be and is a very surface level emotion when it comes to others, and it doesn't feel good. I'm talking to other humans, so of course I'm sure you all felt this, but it just can kind of make you feel icky and make you feel bad to feel that way. But you don't have to be complicit in setting in that emotion. You can do something about it. And I just wanted to talk about how it's been helpful for me to contextualize my jealousy and really look inward about why I'm jealous. And I don't think that I'm ever going to outrun jealousy. I think that jealousy is going to continue to be a theme in my life. I just don't want it to be the main narrative of my life. I don't want to constantly be looking at others and wanting what they have and then setting back and doing nothing about it. If I'm jealous about something that someone has, whether that's like a physical object or something emotionally or something physically, I want to be able to take a step back and be like, okay, well, why am I jealous of this thing? Turning that into motion, into movement, because jealousy doesn't have to be something that makes you stagnate and stay stuck in place. It should actually light a fire underneath your ass to figure out what's going on. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today. This video is not super long. I didn't do a lot of research behind this. This is just what's coming off of the top of my head when it comes to jealousy. I just thought it was important because, again, like I stated earlier in the video, we live in a very comparison-based society. It is impossible not to compare yourself to what others have. So you might as well learn how to deal with that emotion, because it's going to come up. It's going to come up continually, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but you can take that discomfort and you can turn it into something that is beneficial and good for yourself, that helps you get to know yourself on a deeper level. And I think it's really, really important to get to know yourself and to be in touch with your identity, because I feel like we live in a society that's constantly vying for us to find out what our identity is, but they don't really give you the tools or the knowledge to do that in a healthy way. Like, there are a lot of pitfalls along the way. So I don't know if this is something that has resonated with you, but if it is, if you wouldn't care to give a like or a comment or to subscribe, that would be awesome. Hopefully I will be back next week with a video that's a bit longer. I'm not sure if it's going to be another one of these talk-based videos that's just kind of me talking about a thought that's come up in my brain across the week, or if it'll be something more specific in the social science realm. But thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video, and I hope that you're having a lovely Sunday.